Alright guys, so here's the review of the OSO Orbit vintage style chronograph. So this is actually currently live on Kickstarter, so I'll leave details down in the description for that if you do want to check it out and get a bit more information on the actual Kickstarter itself. But as for this watch, as you can see, this is the green dial and gold case option. So I think one of the stretch goals on the actual Kickstarter is a few different colour variations. So if you're interested in them, like I say, down in the description. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is actually a review piece, so I've got to send this on to someone else when I've done the review. So that's why you've got the pay promotion down there. I don't get paid for this review, I've just got to lend this to review it, and then like I say, I've got to send it on. So the case on this is actually stainless steel, obviously it's being coated, and as you can see, it's kind of like a cushion style case, I guess. Very 70s style, which I do quite like. And one of the first things that probably stands out is the fact that there's no second hand on this. So you can probably see, if I zoom in on the dial, it actually says hybrid chronograph there. So the reason they're calling this a hybrid is because it's a mecha quartz. It's actually a VK64 movement. So it's a little bit odd that they've called it a hybrid. They might actually be changing that on the dial as well, to be fair. Other than that, there aren't really going to be any changes. But with that hybrid, they might be changing it so it actually just says Orbit, which is obviously the model of this watch, which I think might be a bit better, to be fair. So getting on to the rest of it, as you can see, we've got a nice sign crown there. And we've also got a sign buckle too, matching the case. So that's always nice to see. If I zoom back in on the dial, I think there are a few little bits of dust and stuff under this, but like I say, this is a prototype, so hopefully they'll sort that out in the final production version. And you can probably also see as well, we've actually got some blue AR coating on that, so that's always nice to have. Some people are a little bit funny about it being blue, if it's not a blue dial, but personally I don't mind too much. While we're zoomed into, let's quickly mention those subdials. So if I tilt it slightly, you can actually see they are slightly recessed into the dial. And you can also probably see as well, we've got a domed crystal on this. So we've got a nice bit of distortion, which I do like. So getting back to those subdials, as you can see, the one on the 3 o'clock position is a 24-hour. The one at the 9 o'clock position, that's your 60-minute timer for the chronograph. Speaking of which, let's quickly see it in action. So obviously press this top pusher to activate the chronograph, and as you can see, with it being a mecha quartz, got a fairly smooth sweep of that, and then obviously press it again, stop it, and the bottom one to reset. As for the rest of the dial, you can see you've got the tachymeter around the outside, and then we've got the date window at the 6. Some people might not like that it's not a colour match date wheel. I actually personally don't mind it too much, because I think it kind of blends in with the rest of the indices, with them all being white, so it fits quite well with the positioning of it, so I'm not too bothered about that. And then with the hands, you can actually see we've got a little bit of lume on there, but we'll get into that later on when we do the lume shot. So as for the strap, it is actually a really nice one. Nice tan kind of colour, really soft, really comfortable. Not had any issues with that at all. And it is actually branded, and as you can see, genuine leather as well. While we're around here too, we have actually got a nice case back on this. If I'm going to zoom in on that too. So really interesting, do like that. Obviously fits in with like the space theme. Nice touch. And then we've got the usual spec sheet around the outside. So sapphire crystal, stainless steel, the name, and then the fact that we've got 100 meter water resistance. So speaking of that water resistance, if I quickly zoom back out, the crown on this isn't actually a screw down one, it's just a push-pull. So if we pull it out once, then we can obviously change the date, pull it out again, and then obviously you can change the time. One thing to mention with this, I don't know if this is going to be the same on the production ones, but as you can see, the gearing on it seems to be quite low, so it takes quite a bit of turning to actually change it. Not overly keen on that, and it's slightly light as well in function, so hopefully that'll be addressed in the actual production ones. But other than that, no issues. So let's get on to the measurements. So we've got a thickness of just over 12mm, diameter of 40mm, lug width of 20. I think I would have preferred if they'd made that a bit bigger, maybe 22. I think it might have fitted a bit better with the case kind of style, but that's just personal preference, I guess. And then we've got a lug to lug of just over 46. So pretty nice dimensions overall. Pretty compact, even with that unusual case design. So now let's test whether we've got sapphire crystal. Using the trusty diamond selector 2. And as you can see, yep, we have got sapphire crystal. So that was correct, nothing to worry about there. So now, let's check out that Lume. So as you can see, it's not looking brilliant, but with this kind of style watch you don't really expect that anyway. But let's charge it up, give it a chance. And there we go. So it's looking a bit better now. But again, with this kind of style of watch, you're not expecting too much lume wise, because there's just not a lot of surface area to be playing with really. But it's usable. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing special. But again, you kind of expect that. So all that's left to do now is show it you on wrist. So this is what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist. As you can see, wears pretty nicely. And like I say, this strap is really comfortable. Not a lot of curvature to the case, so you might want to wear it slightly tighter, but I personally prefer to wear my watches a bit loose, so it does kind of sit on top of the wrist a bit and look a little bit odd sometimes, but again, if you wear it a bit tighter, that's not an issue. And again, that nice bit of distortion from that crystal. So if you're after a 70s style chronograph, this isn't a bad one. Definitely check out the Kickstarter, and I'll also leave a link to the website as well down there. But that's it for this one guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.